And now joining me here for a Big Ten Network chat, Jordan Bohannon from Iowa. Jordan, first off, how healthy are you?
Feel the best shape of my life right now.
In what way?
Well, I finally have 2 new hips, so I can move around a lot better.
You're a little young for hip surgery, but obviously you needed it. We saw, how it was obviously debilitating you a little toward the end of your playing time last season. Obviously, it happened early in the season. At what point did you realize, you know what, I have to get this done and sit out the rest of the year?
Yeah, it was definitely a tough decision, the first one, to get the first hip surgery. So I worked my butt off to get back and be able to play 10 games with my team last year. And, when I was trying to get back, I started having hip pain in my other hip. So, I was like, I don't know if I want to go through this again. I told my trainer, and me and my trainer, my family both agreed that it was probably the best option. I cut the season short and I finally get healthy with my whole body, because really my hips have been bothering me since freshman year in college. So, once I was able to get my second one done and go through the rehab process, I realized that the tough decision that I thought it was at the time was really not a tough decision, and I made the right decision.
So just so people clear it up, I mean, I'm not talking about major hip replacement here. Just help me out in terms of, what exactly had to be done as best as you feel comfortable saying.
Yeah, so I had a torn labrum in both my hips, and I had bone growing out of my hip socket that was pretty much causing that pain and that torn labrum that occurred. So they went in there and shaved down that bone and repaired that labrum that was torn, and now I could say a year and a half later, I feel the best way I've ever felt.
Which is tremendous. And I just want to go back to that last game against Iowa State. The sneakers on the court, that moment, obviously you knew you were going to have surgery. You knew you were going to be shelved. But at that time, in making that gesture, how much did you think this could literally be my last college basketball game, at least playing for Iowa?
Yeah, really, I didn't know until, I guess, a couple days after that game that I wanted to do that hip surgery for my second one. So I really thought after the Iowa State game that I was going to go through the full season. I was going to get through it. And because we were playing well, we just came off a couple good wins, played well in Las Vegas, beat Texas Tech. And I thought that I was going to get through the season and that our team was going down the right path. And I just wanted to try to push through it. So I really thought when I left my sneakers on the court, that was going to be the last time that we're going to play Iowa State. So it should be fun to be able to play them again this year.
So watching what you saw with Iowa pre-stoppage due to the pandemic and the season that Luka had, what did you learn from that vantage point of an observer rather than someone on the court?
Yeah, I really had to shift hats from being a point guard and controlling the team while the game was going on to really a coach on the sideline and trying to help the young guys out. And I was able to see things a lot. I always think I like to think the game. I think the game really slowly when I'm out there, but I was able to kind of take another step back and see things that I probably would have never saw if it wasn't for me to be sidelined with another hip surgery. So it was cool for me to kind of shift my kind of hats, like I said, to kind of help the younger guys even more than what I have been and see them grow and develop as the game and season went on.
All right, so looking ahead, Luka back, Wieskamp, Toussaint, the McCaffreys, you, all the pieces are there to have Fran McCaffrey's best team, a team that could win the Big Ten and get to a Final Four. How would you view the sort of amount of optimism in an unprecedented season at Iowa City?
Yeah, it's been kind of frustrating going through the summer and fall because we know what we have as a team, the talent-wise and experience we have coming back, and we want this season to run as smoothly as it can. And it's just been frustrating trying to get through this whole pandemic. But I would say that our team has fully bought in to each other, having each other hold each other accountable and not, risking our possibility to kind of have our season cut short. So I got to give a lot of credit to our guys for being really locked in from day one, from the summer all the way until now. And as we start practices up pretty soon, that we're going to be ready from the start.
So what have you seen from Luka in terms of a way in which he could be even better than he was last season?
I think he's doing a lot better job of learning about spacing, and when the double team comes, he's able to kick out right away and really move the ball. I think his assist numbers are going to go way up this year. he's always going to be a ferocious rebounder like you guys saw last year. And he's going to be able to score the ball every time he touches the ball. But I think he's going to see a lot more double teams, and that's going to open up our team so much more, knowing how many shooters we have around him, knowing how many drivers we have to be able to get to the basket and create open shots for us and him as well. We just have so many pieces this year that are going to help each other out.
So in terms of the NBA bubble, one of the big storylines that's come out of there is obviously the way in which Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, who I know you know well, and have played against, and John Morant, not John Morant, Jamal Murray, in the way in which Murray, Robinson, Hero have just been balling in terms of launching big shots and threes. You have done a great job of that in your career. When you see what we're seeing in the NBA versus the way you're able to do it on the college side, how much do you see just how much of a great weapon that is to be able to bury those deep threes?
It's huge. And you see that transition when Trae Young got into the NBA, it kind of transitioned even more once Steph Curry got in. It's just starting to see a lot more of a longer distance game where if you don't guard guys out that can shoot the ball far out on the arc, they're going to fire. And most 9 times out of 10, it's going to go in. So, knowing my game and how it can transition professionally, I feel like that I've always been confident in my shot. And, when I'm open, I'm going to shoot the ball. And no matter how far I am, I know I have deep range and the guys are confident around me. And be able to study these guys in the NBA like Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero and all these guys that are able to transition their game like that, it really helps me going into the season and realizing what I can bring to the table.
And last thing, Jordan, you mentioned, it's just been frustrating to stop-start. I mean, you guys have had workouts and have to stop workouts. Going through a pandemic, this is unprecedented for all of us. What have the protocols been like for you guys to try to practice, and you haven't fully yet because that'll happen October 14th, but and dealing with some positives and having to guys are having to sit out and having to sort of just claw your way to this start date?
Yeah, it has been really frustrating, like I touched on, but the accountability that we've been having, I feel like that's transitioning to a lot of the other teams, the Big Ten, because they realize how good we're going to be this year. And I see, talking to a bunch of guys around the leagues, that their teams are locked in and trying to get us to that point of being able to play a full season and not having anything happen mid-season to any of the teams to cut that short. So I feel that there's a lot of great confidence in a lot of the players throughout the league and the coaches, that knowing that we're going to play a full season and that we're going to get through a full season without any cancellations or anything like that. So it makes me happy knowing that everyone's being accountable for each other and really willing to play this year.
And knowing that you got a potential Final Four team around you has got to make it even more motivating to get through this.
For sure, yeah. And the expectations we had a little bit coming off our freshman year. I feel old as heck right now, talking about being a fifth-year senior and knowing I came in with Tyler Cook and those guys. But my experience coming back, I feel like it's going to help these guys a lot to try to make a deep run in the tournament.
Appreciate it, Jordan. Thank you.
Thank you.